Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review Season 1 of Queer as Folk. This is the reboot of this famous trailblazing series that came out in the very late moments of the 1990s that really put a spotlight on the queer community, and this particular series is trying to bring that to a whole new generation 20 years later. Yes, over 20 years later. And also this series is trying to capture things on a little bit more of really, because like I've never watched the original series, but they're going for timely with this one, as this first episode of this series opens up with a club shooting. And then you're like, oh, well, we're there. That hit. And we're going to go from there. And do I feel like this series deals with the traumas of that in the most respectful and impactful ways? Could have been done better. I feel like it becomes, like, you don't start this series with that and not make that a main focal point of what's going on here. And I feel like it's forgotten about, and they just keep trying to, like, stuff it in places. They obviously, with some of the characters, deal with the trauma of it, but, like, that's a bold choice to start the series off with that. And there's definitely ramifications with Finn Argus as Mingus, who was doing a drag performance when the shooting happened, so, like, he's no longer wants to experience that. You have Cher and Ruthie, who are a couple who just had kids and dealing with trans experience, which I have to say this version of Queer as Folk is definitely filled with intersectionality. It isn't just a bunch of white men, white gay men, and this is trying to deal with all different kinds of perspectives. And whether it's, you know, drag community, trans community, dealing with being queer in underrepresented groups as well, like in terms of being minorities, and it's trying to show a wide breadth of different experiences, some of which just feel a little, you know, archetypical, and it's just like you plop them in there, it's like, hey, there's that one. In general, I felt like I did connect with some of these characters. Like, I think the one character that I really got invested in throughout this series was Ruthie, and her experiences throughout this series, including there's a whole episode dedicated to her backstory and being able to become who she is, and that episode dealt with dead naming and different kinds of stuff like that. But really, at the core of this, you have Brody and Ruthie kind of feel like the main characters, and to the point of I feel like the detriment of the series which I have to say, this already got canceled, so it's one and only season of Queer as Folk on Peacock, but like, the last shot of this season is a big bombshell, and you're just like, well, no resolution ever again. But how it's dealing with that and what two characters it tries to bring together, I'm like, no, I didn't buy that. That didn't click. That one, I don't know what's going on here. And the show seemed to be leaning into this, and this is supposed to be like the big twist of the going into the next season, and the relationship between Ruthie and Shar definitely felt fractured, and that was going to be a big piece moving forward, and you're kind of just like, well, I guess I assume that they're not going to have a happy ending together. Maybe happy endings with two different people that I didn't buy either of these relationships in. So, like, I appreciate them swinging and going for the fences with some of these relationships and these connections, but, like, some of them just fell flat as hell. And it really did towards the end. I do feel like I felt connected to a decent amount of the characters. Some of them I just never felt like they got beyond just being these one-dimensional characters that are representing a specific group of people. And I appreciated what this show is going for. I liked it less than I appreciated it. I feel like it's trying to tackle a lot of timely themes without doing enough character-wise for us to connect with the characters, to feel these situations. And also, even the characters that I do feel like I connected with, they made some bold choices in terms of these characters that kind of felt like, well, I don't know if I could support them in that and really get behind them. And so this first and I guess only season of this reboot feels a little bit more focused on trying to spread the wealth in terms of what it's trying to portray instead of really focusing on the characters and having us really connect with the series. So, would I recommend this? I feel like there's better content out there to be representative of like queer community than this. If this was like the only thing in show, then I feel like it would balance out, but it's not. So I don't know if I'd recommend this one as much. Maybe give it a try if it piques your interest. It's there on Peacock if you have access to that. But those are my thoughts on Season 1 of Queer as Folk. Let me know what you think and let's talk some TV. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.